Messi's off to the Cup, DePaul with him, and Dayne St. Clair in goal for the host nation. Miami's about to play short-handed, and the tournament hasn't even kicked off.
This is the Inter Miami Daily, and the Panic Week stuff is behind us. Injuries resolved, rumors dead. Now the actual roster hole opens up.
9 Miami players are on call-up duty, and the Peninsula Herald names the 3 that matter most to us today. We'll run the fixture math and the coaching news.
And Hoyos is staying. Finally, a real answer in that dugout. Let's get into what he actually does with a hollowed-out squad.
Start with the name we haven't said enough, Dayne St. Clair. A starting keeper for Canada, a host nation. That's a real minutes management story, and he's been invisible all week. Peninsula Herald has it sourced. Argentina opens June 16th against Algeria, so the clock on those absences really starts next Tuesday.
2 of our 3 confirmed for Argentina. The danger zone isn't a projection anymore. It's 9 guys gone and a schedule that doesn't care.
Which lands right on the Miami Herald confirmation. Hoyos remains as coach. After the Guardiola noise, the chair's filled, so now it's about who runs training with the squad gutted. Then there's the sports Kita piece. Miami players publicly predicting World Cup winners the day before kickoff. Pure content bait. Miami Herald with Michelle Kaufman.
We'll recap USA's game against Germany, Haiti's 2 games against New Zealand and Peru, and tell you about the teams that have been training in South Florida, plus a behind-the-scenes tour of the FIFA World Cup Operating Center. And yes, there's some Inter Miami news even during the World Cup break. Guillermo Hoyos is staying on as the team's coach beyond the World Cup.
Inside Inter Miami's World Cup preview dropped this morning, and buried under all the Bedoya analyst chatter is the one line that's actual club news. Guillermo Hoyos is staying on as coach beyond the tournament.
Finally, after the Guardiola chase and all the open chair noise earlier this week, that's the dugout question answered. Hoyos has the job through the most disruptive stretch this club's seen.
And the timing matters. He's the man holding training while the call-ups walk out the door. It gives them continuity right when the roster gets hollowed out.
Right. So it stops being a question about drift and becomes, what does a confirmed staff actually do with 6 weeks and a depleted squad? That's a way better conversation.
The other wrinkle in there? A Somali referee denied entry to the U.S. can't officiate, per the Herald. A host nation turning away its own match officials. No real parallel for that one. Peninsula Herald writes,
Inter Miami CF captain Leo Messi, midfielder Rodrigo DePaul, and goalkeeper Dayne St. Clair will represent the club at the FIFA World Cup 2026 as the tournament kicks off this week with 48 national teams competing and Miami serving as one of the host cities.
Peninsula Herald lays out the group stage paths today, 3 Miami players in. Messi and DePaul with Argentina opening against Algeria in Kansas City on the 16th. And the name that's barely gotten a mention all week? Dayne St. Clair. Starting keeper for Canada, host nation, opens against Bosnia in Toronto Friday at 3.
St. Clair's the one I keep coming back to. If a goalkeeper for a host country goes deep, that's potentially weeks of minutes. And our number 1 in goal is gone for all of it.
Right. And here's the wrinkle the Kansas City detail buries. Messi's adopted home city is hosting, but Argentina opens there, not at home. His Miami appearances only happen if they advance out of Group J.
So the most marketable man in the sport could play the whole tournament in Kansas City and Dallas. The poetry writes itself.
With 9 Miami players heading into World Cup duty this summer, what's the actual threat to the club? Is it the games they miss? The shape they come back in? Or something deeper about how this roster functions?
Honestly, it's probably all 3. And they pile up in a way that makes the post-tournament stretch the pressure point. Start with the absences. Per Inter Miami's own communications, 9 players earned call-ups for the summer FIFA window. And that's not just fringe depth. It includes Messi and Rodrigo de Paul, both in for Argentina's World Cup campaign. Then add what we already knew coming into the season. Per ESPN, Messi played only 55% of available MLS games in 2024, just 19 appearances. And the club built the whole rotation model around protecting those minutes. That works when the coaching staff controls the dial. When Argentina controls it, Miami doesn't. And then there's the injury piece. Messi came off in the 72nd minute against Philadelphia, right before the tournament, visibly clutching his upper left thigh, which immediately put his World Cup status in question, per Al Jazeera and Yahoo Sports. So you've got a player who was already being carefully managed, heading into a tournament with a possible knock, then coming back mid-season to a club that no longer has Busquets or Alba as stabilizers. Both retired after last season, per the Miami Herald.
With Busquets and Alba gone, is there actually a tested backup structure in place? Or is the club just hoping Messi comes back healthy and picks up where he left off?
Miami's going to find out in the second half of this MLS season, ready or not. The World Cup final is in mid-July, which means the club could be without its biggest names for a significant stretch of league play, without that veteran Spanish core as a safety net. Watch how the club manages Messi's first few appearances back. If they're subbing him off before 70 minutes and rotating aggressively, that's the staff being smart. If he's logging heavy minutes immediately to chase standings, that's where it gets risky. From Suleiman Salahuddin at Sportskita.
2 of Lionel Messi's teammates at Inter Miami have provided their predictions for the winners of the FIFA World Cup this summer. The Argentine great is among a handful of Inter Miami players set to feature at the World Cup after impressing with the club. Lionel Messi led Argentina to win the World Cup in Qatar 4 years ago and will hope to defend the title this summer as well.
Sportskita's got Dayne St. Clair and Noah Allen on record predicting the World Cup winner. Content bait, sure, but the timing tells you why it matters. These guys are doing media the day before the thing kicks off.
And here's what I actually like about it. It isn't just Messi as the headline. St. Clair's in the mix, Allen's chiming in. That's a locker room invested in each other's national team runs heading into a 6-week split.
St. Clair's the name that keeps not getting air. Starting keeper for a host nation. He's a real minutes management story, and he's been basically invisible in this week's coverage.
The headline literally says Messi doesn't have unanimous backing from his own teammates. Somebody in that room is not picking Argentina to repeat.
Got thoughts on today's show? A story idea we should chase? Or a correction we need to make? Send us a note anytime at Inter Miami Daily Fancast at lanternpodcasts.com. We've put links to every story from today's episode in the show notes. So if something grabbed your attention, you can head there and read more at your own pace. That's Inter Miami Daily Podcast for today. This is a Lantern Podcast.